The mirror of gratitude. Hey there. Before you close your eyes tonight, I want to share a story with you. A story that can shift the way you think, give your heart peace, and fill you with hope for tomorrow. You know, we all have those days where everything feels like it's working against us, where we look around and see what everyone else has, what we're missing, what we wish we could change. But tonight, let's take a few minutes to recharge together and remind ourselves that strength is always closer than we think. Sometimes the most powerful transformations happen not when we get what we want, but when we learn to see what we already have through different eyes. Tonight's story is about a young man who thought his life was full of cracks and empty spaces until someone showed him how to look at those very same cracks and see something beautiful. So get comfortable, take a deep breath, and let's dive into this journey together. Because by the end of this story, I believe you'll discover something powerful about your own life too. What part of your day today made you feel challenged? Write it in the comments. I want to know. I ask, because today's story is about someone who felt challenged every single day. Someone who couldn't see past his struggles to recognize what was already beautiful in his life. And maybe, just maybe, his journey will help you see your own challenges in a completely new light. Alex stared out his apartment window at the bustling street below, watching people hurry past with their seemingly perfect lives. At 25, he felt like he was drowning in a sea of his own disappointments. His job at the local grocery store barely paid the bills. His car had broken down again, and his small studio apartment felt more like a prison cell than a home. Every morning, Alex would scroll through social media, seeing his college friends posting pictures of their new houses, exotic vacations, and dream jobs. The comparison game had become his daily torture, and he couldn't seem to stop playing it. "Why can't I catch a break?" he muttered to himself, throwing his phone onto the unmade bed. Everyone else seems to have it figured out, and here I am, stuck in the same place I was 5 years ago. His neighbor, Mrs. Chen, was an elderly woman in her 70s who lived next door. Despite her own challenges, she walked with a cane and lived on a modest pension. Alex had never heard her complain about anything. In fact, she always seemed to have a smile and a kind word for everyone she met. One evening, as Alex was dragging himself up the stairs after another exhausting day at work, he found Mrs. Chen sitting on the building's front steps, enjoying the sunset. She looked up at him with those wise, twinkling eyes that seemed to see right through people. "Alex, my dear boy," she said gently, "you look like you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders." Alex paused, surprised by her observation. Usually, he tried to hide his struggles, but something about Mrs. Chen's gentle presence made him feel safe to be honest. "I guess I am, Mrs. Chen," he admitted, sitting down beside her. "It's just, I look around and everyone seems to have so much more than me. Better jobs, nicer things, happier lives. I feel like I'm missing out on everything." Mrs. Chen nodded thoughtfully, her weathered hands folded in her lap. "I understand that feeling," she said. "May I share something with you?" She stood up slowly, using her cane for support. "Come with me for a moment." Curious, despite his mood, Alex followed her to her apartment. The space was small and simply furnished, but it felt warm and inviting in a way his own place never did. Mrs. Chen walked over to an old wooden chest and carefully pulled out something wrapped in soft cloth. "This," she said, unwrapping the item with reverence, "is something very special." In her hands was a mirror, but unlike any mirror Alex had ever seen. The surface was made up of dozens of pieces of broken glass, each fragment a different size and shape, held together by an intricate bronze frame. The cracks between the pieces created a web-like pattern across the entire surface. "It's broken," Alex said, confused. Mrs. Chen smiled. "Look closer," she said, holding the mirror up to him. "What do you see?" Alex looked into the fractured surface. His reflection stared back at him, but it was different. The cracks and breaks in the glass created an almost kaleidoscopic effect, showing multiple angles of his face at once. "It was broken during an earthquake when I was a young woman, much like you. My grandmother could have thrown it away. After all, what good is a broken mirror? But instead, she carefully collected every piece and had it reassembled. She traced one of the bronze lines with her finger. She told me something I've never forgotten. The cracks don't make it worthless, child. They make it unique. They give it character. And if you look carefully, you can still see everything you need to see." Alex stared at his reflection again, beginning to understand. "But why are you showing me this?" Mrs. Chen set the mirror down gently and looked directly into his eyes. "Because, dear Alex, you've been looking at your life like it's broken. You see the cracks. The job that isn't perfect, the apartment that's small, the car that needs repairs. You see what's missing, what's damaged, what doesn't match the shiny, perfect lives you think everyone else has." She picked up the mirror again. "But what if I told you that those so-called perfect lives you see on social media are just like regular mirrors, smooth, polished, and showing only one angle at a time? What if the cracks in your life aren't flaws, but rather what makes your story uniquely beautiful?" Alex felt something shift in his chest, a small crack in the wall of negativity he'd built around his heart. "Think about it," Mrs. Chen continued. "Your job at the grocery store. Yes, it's not glamorous. But how many people have you helped find what they needed? How many elderly customers have you assisted with their heavy bags? How many times have you been the friendly face that brightened someone's difficult day?" Alex thought about Mrs. Patterson, the elderly woman who came in every Tuesday and always lingered to chat because she was lonely. He thought about the young mother who struggled with 3 kids and a tight budget, and how he always helped her find the best deals. He thought about his co-worker Miguel, who was working 2 jobs to support his sick father, and how they'd become genuine friends. "Your small apartment," Mrs. Chen went on. "It's not a palace, but it's yours. It's the place where you've learned to be independent, where you've discovered your own cooking skills, where you've spent quiet evenings reading books that expanded your mind. How many people your age have that kind of solitude and self-reliance?" Alex realized she was right. His tiny space had taught him to be resourceful, to appreciate simple pleasures, like a good cup of coffee or a sunset through his window. "And your old car," Mrs. Chen said with a gentle laugh. "It's taken you on adventures, hasn't it? Road trips with friends, late-night drives when you needed to clear your head, journeys to job interviews and family gatherings. It's been reliable in its own way, even if it's not the fanciest model." As Mrs. Chen spoke, Alex began to see his life through the broken mirror's lens. Each crack, each imperfection told a story. Each challenge had taught him resilience. Each disappointment had deepened his empathy. Each struggle had revealed strength he didn't know he possessed. "The truth is," Mrs. Chen said, sitting down in her favorite chair, "everyone's life has cracks. Those perfect social media posts, they're showing you the one smooth angle, hiding all the fractured pieces. The difference is that some people learn to see beauty in their broken places, while others only see the flaws." She gestured to a small plant on her windowsill that was growing through a crack in an old ceramic pot. "Even this little plant finds a way to bloom despite, or perhaps because of, the break in its container. The crack gives it room to grow in unexpected directions." Alex sat in silence for several minutes, processing everything she'd shared. The mirror sat between them, his fragmented reflection still visible in its surface. "Mrs. Chen," he finally said, "how do I start seeing my life differently? How do I learn to appreciate what I have instead of focusing on what I lack?" Her eyes lit up with warmth. "Start small, dear boy. Each morning, before you pick up that phone to compare your life to others, look in a regular mirror and find 3 things to be grateful for. Not big things, small ones. Maybe it's that you slept well, or that you have coffee to drink, or that your health allowed you to wake up for another day." She paused, then continued. "I'm not giving this to you," she said with a smile, "because you don't need it. You've already learned its lesson. But I want you to remember that beauty isn't about perfection, it's about perspective." Walking back to his apartment that evening, Alex looked around with new eyes. The hallway that usually felt dingy now seemed cozy and familiar. His small studio, rather than feeling cramped, felt intimate and manageable. Even his broken-down car in the parking lot looked like an old friend that had been through adventures with him. He realized that gratitude wasn't about pretending everything was perfect. It was about recognizing that even in the cracks and imperfections, there was beauty, growth, and meaning. That night, Alex didn't scroll through social media. Instead, he sat by his window, watching the city lights twinkle below. And for the first time in years, he felt genuinely content with the view from right where he was. If this story touched your heart, if it helped you see your own life through Alex's eyes, please give it a like and let me know in the comments. Your engagement helps this message reach others who might need to hear it tonight. If you were Alex, what would you do to move forward? Which part of this story touched you the most? Comment below. Now, Alex's transformation didn't happen overnight, and yours won't either. But just like Alex learned to see beauty in his broken mirror reflection, you can learn to find meaning in whatever challenges you wrote about in the comments earlier. Your struggles aren't signs that something's wrong with your life. They're proof that you're brave enough to keep growing. Take a moment and think about today. Really think about it. No matter how hard it felt, no matter what challenges came your way, tomorrow is another chance to see things through a different lens. Alex's story reminds us that we all have cracks in our lives, moments where things don't go as planned, where we fall short of our expectations, where we look around and feel like everyone else has it figured out except us. But here's the beautiful truth. Those cracks aren't signs of failure. They're proof that you're living, growing, and becoming stronger. Maybe today you felt overwhelmed at work, or frustrated with a relationship, or disappointed by something that didn't work out. Those feelings are valid, and it's okay to acknowledge them. But remember Mrs. Chen's broken mirror. You can see the cracks and still recognize the beauty of the whole picture. Even a tiny step can turn your whole day around. Believe in the power of small actions. Maybe it's calling someone you care about, taking 5 minutes to appreciate something beautiful around you, or simply choosing to see one challenge as an opportunity to grow rather than something working against you. Your life doesn't need to be perfect to be meaningful. Your story doesn't need to look like everyone else's to be valuable. The cracks in your journey are what make it uniquely yours. Question to viewers: what is one small thing you can do tomorrow to feel stronger and more hopeful? Think about whatever challenge you shared in the comments at the beginning. That struggle is actually your starting point for tomorrow's small step toward hope. If this story gave you even a little spark of hope tonight, if it helped you see your own life through a gentler, more grateful lens, I want you to share that feeling. Hit the like button, share this story with a friend who might need to hear it, and come back tomorrow night. Because here's what I love about stories like Alex's. They don't end when the telling stops. The real magic happens when you take that lesson and apply it to your own life. Tomorrow, we're going to check in on how Alex's newfound perspective changed his daily routine. And I think you'll be surprised by the simple changes that made the biggest difference. We'll explore how gratitude became his superpower, how he transformed his relationship with social media, and the unexpected opportunities that opened up when he stopped focusing on what was missing and started appreciating what was right in front of him. Subscribe to Dream Fuel Stories so every night you can end your day inspired. Make this a ritual. A few minutes before